I assume you had maybe a full practice today. What would you try to get accomplished headed into 3 home games?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing for us, prep for Golden State certainly, and then continuing to build, continuing to build, reintegrate C into some of our actions offensively and defensively. Again, continuing to get first 2 days of looks with her and Ari on the floor at the same time, what that looks like, what actions we like, and then reintegrating her into what we need to do on the defensive end.
Just with reintegrating Caitlin, do you anticipate her to be available tomorrow?
I anticipate, if there's no setbacks, after today, I anticipate her being available, yes.
Steph, what have you seen out of the group without her that kind of, as you started this reintegration process, you've learned about this group since Caitlin with the 8 or 9 rotation you played?
Yeah, first and foremost, our defensive energy and effort had been really good. Our mobility, our activity level, our ability to execute schemes for the most part had been really good. We've had defensive versatility. And I loved offensively how the ball's moving, how multiple players are getting touches. We're moving it side to side. We're getting high percentage looks. And that's part of just conversations as C gets back on the floor. It's, hey, look at what we were doing really well, making sure that there's a high attention to detail for that. I thought, particularly on the defensive end, prior to her initial injury, she was good on the defensive end. She was really solid for us on the defensive end. We need that from her. And her ability now, I think, with Ari on the floor to be able to play some off the ball, maybe take some pressure off, not as demanding when she's being hounded 94 feet, and to try to get her some high percentage looks off the ball as much as with the ball in her hands.
I get some sense you get a lot of input out of her. It's just she's been on the bench here. Has there been kind of one thing that stands out that she keeps seeing, that keeps kind of coming as the back and forth between the two of you?
Yeah, I think the biggest thing is just things that she's seeing that defenses are starting to try to take away. Where our openings are, what some of our actions are that we can get good looks in. You do see it differently when you're on the sideline, and then when you're not actively engaged in going through it in the game. So hopefully she can carry some of that over, put her little coaching, I know she put her GM hat on before, now put her coaching hat on when she gets out there and recognize it in live action.
You know what day specifically Dee will be back?
I feel like Didi's getting back into town today and should be around tomorrow.
Steph played 5 and 7 days
Yeah.
in this point in the season. How do you kind of handle a stretch like this now differently than maybe you would in the earlier part of the season?
Well, I think we, mentally we have to be better. We just finished 9 and 18, and then we're playing 5 and 7. It's just the nature of the beast of where we are. So I think our mental acuity has to be high. We've got to be able to not go through, if we don't have time to go through everything on the floor, we've got to be able to lock in mentally. And then I think we, now reintegrating C, getting DD back, and now we have a couple more players, so our rotation's a little bit deeper. So for us as a staff, we might not have to go longer periods of time with the same rotation. Get them in and out a little bit quicker, try to stay fresh, or as fresh as possible.
Did you learn any more about Caitlin's gravity that she has when she's out there and how this might open things up, just because defenders keen on her and opening things up from what you've seen from your current group over the last
Yeah, I think certainly, especially if she's off the ball, she's going to draw attention. So if she's in action off the ball, or even if she's spacing the floor off the ball, she's going to open up things for everybody else. When she has the ball in her hands, you almost use her as bait sometimes because of the way that teams are going to play her, and be able to get it out and get it to the backside and get some high percentage shots. She's a willing passer, and so she's somebody who makes her teammates better instinctually just by being on the floor. But I think the gravity of her ability to score, and now our ability to use her off the ball, will open up the paint for our downhill drivers.
What's impressive about Aaliyah this last stretch?
Yep.
They found another level here in the last month or so.
Yeah, she's been great. I think the biggest thing for us is how we use her. We use her as a hub. She's really embraced that role. So you see her facing up a lot more, going into DHOs, using some of her keeps, playing off the move. Primarily in year 1, it was like back to the basket. Primarily in year 2, it was in the 2-man with Caitlin. And now we're utilizing her in a lot of different ways as a facilitator as much as a scorer. And I think it's opening up her game, and she's really embraced it. That's it. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.